Welcome to Homemaking with Mima. My name is Wendy, and I am going to be trying to use up some of the old ground beef from the old beef that we had, and I'm not gonna be creative because a lot of this is stuff that everybody eats all the time. But I'm just gonna bring you along to let you see how I'm going to try to get this used up to the best of my ability. I don't want to use it up. I just want to get it down to more manageable count. And if I have the ground beef pre-done and ready to have as meals, then it's a lot easier for me instead of trying to be creative on a single day with one chub of ground beef, trying to figure out what to do with it. So I took out three of the pound and a third chubs, and as you can see, I'm going to cook it up as taco meat. And I took out some of the chopped onions that I had done a while back, and I'm going to throw that in there. And I'm going to see what else I can dig up so that I can put into this to clean some things out of my freezer as well. And I'm going to bring you along with me. Okay, so I had gone downstairs to my upright freezer and I dug through some of the things that we need to use up. And of course, I'm going to make taco meat. So we're going to have tacos. So I took out some flour tortillas. I found some more chopped red onion, which will be great because I do need more. And I found a thing of salsa, or no, rotel. And I'm going to throw that in there with it as well. It might make it a little more of a wet taco, but that's okay. I'm using up things that I have, and that's what I like to do. So I'm going to get this ground beef going in the pan here, and I'll bring you back when I get all that ready. Okay, so I defrosted both of these, and I'm going to put them in. Get it all in there. And that's just the onion. I'm not going to put the rotel in until I'm ready to mix the actual taco seasoning with it. But I do want to cook these onions with the burger. Okay, so now it's done cooking up as far as getting the ground beef cooked up. Now I'm going to strain it, get all the grease that's left in there, and then I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to be putting all the packets in there, the seasoning and the water and that leftover rotel. Then I'm going to cook that for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to let it completely cool. Okay, so the taco meat is done cooking. I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to transfer it to a bowl so that it can cool off quicker. because this pan is a heavy bottom pan, so it tends to hold the heat longer, and I'm going to let it completely cool. Okay, taco meat is cooled off enough. Well, I didn't need it cooled off for tonight's supper, but cooled off to package it. So I pulled out enough for tonight's supper. I'm going to put that into the small crock pot, put it on low, and then supper's taken care of. Now to get the bags full. I only have 2 of the bag holders here, and quite frankly, I didn't purchase them. Well, I did. I got them at the thrift store. Someone apparently didn't like them. I like them, and again, another thrift store find. But I had to get a cup out to do this third one because I only have 2 of the holders. All right, so I got 3 meals out of that. Well, actually 4 because we're eating some tonight. But I've got 3 for the freezer, so that's 3 more freezer meals for me. And I don't have to cook it and get it ready. It's already ready. Just pull it out, throw it in the crock pot, and then that's ready to go. Okay, so I laid them flat. I'm going to freeze them like this. And then once they're frozen, then I can put them away in storage down in the upright freezer. They store a lot better if they're frozen flat like this. And I always use a cookie sheet. Don't lay anything like this in your freezers where you've got a rack. It's going to go in between the racks and it's going to freeze to the rack. So always use something that's flat and stable, piece of cardboard, cookie sheet, whatever you can to get it flash frozen, and then you can store it. And that's it for the taco meat. So now it's a new day, and because I had to wait for more chubs to unthaw in the refrigerator. So I've got 3 more chubs of last year's ground beef, and I'm gonna make meatloaf, but I'm gonna do it differently this time. I've seen it go around on Pinterest and all that, using a stuffing mix. So I took the stuffing mix out and I put it into a bag and I crushed it with a rolling pin, and then I've just got some mustard, some ketchup. I have some leftover sauce from the last time I made meatloaf. I found it in the freezer downstairs. I've got 2 eggs for binding agent, and I've got some fresh onion. So I am going to make, I want to get 3 meatloafs out of this. We'll see. I'm putting a glove only on one hand because I have a blister on that hand. So my hands are clean, but I wanted to protect my blister. I do my meatloaf is I line my loaf pans with saran wrap, plastic wrap. And I've got 3 of them here. And I take my ball and I try to form it the best that I can. Get it in here. And we don't eat a full loaf. So I shape it. Then I put a little divot in the center so that when it does cook, the juices can run down off of it so they're not just sitting right on top. That's how I do it. Okay, so I washed my hands. And all I do is now I'm going to flash freeze them. And I'm going to flash freeze them in this pan because this is probably the pan that I'm going to cook it in. So I have two wraps of the saran wrap. Once it completely freezes, then I will wrap it in one more layer of plastic wrap, and then I will label it meatloaf and the date. All right, so there is my 3 freezer meal meatloafs. And I used up 3 more of the chubs of last year's beef. All right, now I've got 1 more freezer meal that I'm going to be making up. And I'm going to make up sloppy joes. I cheat. I use the manwich. It's just how I am. I like the taste of the manwich. I'm going to use 3 more of last year's ground beef, and I'm going to cook them up, and then I'll drain the grease. I'll put the sauce in. I've got some extra onion there too that I'm going to cook with the ground beef, and I'll bring you along for that. Okay, so I'm just going to get these chubs into the pan. So now a total of all this that I've done, trying to use up last year's ground beef, I've used a total of 9 chubs. I did the taco meat the other day, and then today I've made the meatloaf, and now I'm doing the sloppy joe. So I've used 9 of those chubs. Now we're not eating it all at one time, but at least I'm getting it ready. I've got some, it's going to just be extra freezer meals for us to turn to on busy days. I like to break mine up with my hands. The texture of the meat doesn't bother me. All right. Wash up my hands, and then I'm going to get the stove on. downstairs also I found a little bit of sugar-free barbecue sauce, and I just want to get that used up because it's from March. So I'm going to defrost this because I know this can isn't going to be enough for those 3 chubs to for when I make the manwich. So I'm going to add this to that. It isn't going to hurt the flavoring at all. And I'm using another item up. Okay, so the burger is done cooking. And I'm going to strain it out and put it into this bowl. Okay, so I'm done straining it. So we'll get it back in here carefully. And there will be a little bit of fat, but I'm not too worried about that. Get rid of this bowl. And I am defrosting that barbecue sauce that I had shown you. Okay, so I got it partially defrosted. It'll thaw out more. And I've decided I'm only going to put probably half of this in. So I'll have to find another use for that. We'll turn this on and I'm going to let it cook probably for about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. So that it can get all the flavors, and then some of those frozen chunks from that barbecue sauce can mingle in as well. And there's a look at the sloppy joe simmering on the stove. Okay, so it is done cooking, and I'm going to transfer it to a bowl so that it can cool a lot quicker, because if I leave it in here, this heavy bottom saucepan, it's going to keep it warm. It won't let it cool off as quickly. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I transferred it to a bowl. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of it, but I am going to let it cool so that I can get it into these quart-size freezer bags. I had taken a marker. I wrote Slop Joe on it, the month, the year, so it's 7/24, and I've got 4 of them. I left out my stuff just in case I need to write a 5th one. I like Sloppy Joes. The rest of my family doesn't really care for them that well, so I'm only going to do them in quart-size bags. And I am going to put an extra bag on these because we don't eat the Sloppy Joe mix as much as we do like our taco that I had done the other day. So I want to give that extra protection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this completely cool, and I got myself a clean spoon, and I'm going to taste it because I did put in that half a container of barbecue sauce, sugar-free. So we'll give it a test. It's good. You can't even tell it's in there. So I'll bring you back when I'm ready to fill these bags after this cools. And yes, when you do not have a dishwasher, you are the dishwasher. This is what you got to do. Now, some of this was from last night, but not much of it. A lot of it was from this morning and today. So I have lots of dishes to do. Okay, so this is cooled quite a bit. For safety reasons, I'm going to start, for food safety reasons, I'm going to start getting it bagged up. I'll bring you back when I get them all sealed. All right, so here's a closer look. Here's the taco meat that I did the other day. I got 3 meals out of that. I've got the 3 meatloafs that I made today. And I have the 4 meals of sloppy joe. And as you can see, I double bagged them, but I made it so that I could still see the label for the sloppy joe. Okay, so I just gave you a closer look at what I all have here. The meatloaf, the taco meat, and the sloppy joe. So I'm going to wrap this up because it's been 2 days of cooking, and plus I worked in there too, so I'm kind of tired. And we're just going to eat leftovers tonight. We have some things in the refrigerator that just need to get eaten up, so I am not leaving any of this out. We're going to eat leftovers. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you like this kind of content and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I want you folks to make it a really great day.